Hey, watch this episode on YouTube.
Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Yeah.
Welcome back to Two Dudes Watch Cartoons, the podcast where two dudes, that is us, watch cartoons. My name is Evan.
Just kidding. My name is Alex, and boy, do we have an exciting episode for you today. Oh, and we got a great guest as well. We have, for her third time on the podcast, breaking some records here, I think.
How do
Please
I
welcome
keep
back.
doing this to you guys?
Welcome back, Courtney. Courtney, thank you for being here today. Are you excited? Before we even get into anything, we've been talking about this for weeks, the three of us.
Not even for
So
years.
many
Well, last time you were on, you had mentioned it that this was coming out. I'm like, oh yeah, we'll cover
I
it.
specifically
when it
meant the
comes out.
series. We've been talking about it for like 10
Yes.
weeks, I guess is what I mean. I feel like we've
Yeah.
been waiting to cover this for so long. I'm excited. Hope you guys are
Mhm.
excited. We're going to do things a little differently today, starting with, if you do not already, please go follow us on YouTube. Go watch a video on
Yes.
YouTube. We just reached a nice benchmark there. We have 500 followers. We're trying to monetize. Just being honest. I'll level with you guys. We appreciate We'll just be honest. That's just flat out
Yeah,
honesty here.
I like that
Go help us
policy.
out. Go watch this
Yeah.
on YouTube. We appreciate you, though. And if you don't follow us, like a video. But yeah, today, what we're going to be doing is we are covering the highly acclaimed, Emmy Award-winning, just kidding, I made that up, and X-Men 97 on Disney+.
Mhm.
But we're going to be giving all three of us our top 5 favorite moments. And just going through them, I do think we're going to be able to cover a majority of the show. And just knowing how we talk about things, we're going to end up talking about majority of it. But we might not go in chronological order. We're going to be giving the 5 favorite moments we had. There's a ton of moments. I had trouble narrowing it down
Yeah.
to just 5. So
Mhm.
this is going to be fun. We're going to go around the horn. But just let's talk about just a little introduction to the series. Evan, do you have your little recap up there? I bet you don't.
I don't, but let me see. X-Men 97 is an American. Oh, that's the film series. 97 is an American animated television series created by Bo DeMeo for the streaming service Disney Plus. Okay, yada yada. It's a continuation revival of X-Men, the animated series, which ran from 92 to 97. Follows Professor X and his school for gifted mutant students. And so 97 is a direct continuation. It picks up where apparently that series left off, starting
Amazing.
with the death of Charles Xavier. Now, what are our prior histories with the X-Men animated series? Courtney,
Go ahead.
you brought
I'll
this
go.
to
I was like, I'll wait.
us.
So actually, because I feel like a lot of millennials more or less grew up with evolution, other than the OG
Yes, yeah.
X-Men. So I had a girlfriend who would come to our house like every Saturday and kind of like watch us because you're like in between ages, like late elementary, can't stay home, but like you need a babysitter. But so she knew X-Men. She was like all about it. So and she introduced me to evolution. I think it was on Cartoon Network. Oh, don't quote me on that. But
Sounds right.
I was so obsessed with it, and I was so scared I was going to miss episodes that I would take blank VHSs and record the episodes.
Wow.
Dedication.
So yeah, that's like my first introduction to it. I've tried reading comics, but to be honest, before Marvel Unlimited or whatever that is, I didn't really know how to start.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
fair.
and sadly, I followed all of the Fox franchise movies and stuck through
How dare
them.
you.
Even
Hey,
How dare
They
you?
even though
are-
they were so
they are
awful.
precisely hit and miss.
I know.
How
one hit,
dare
one
both
miss.
of you?
But I
How dare
still would
both of
binge
you?
them. I know. I still would binge them so much.
They're
but
great,
yeah.
yeah.
So Evolution is how I got introduced. And then when I found this was coming out, I started trying to watch the OG one.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's kind of how I got into
How
it.
far have you made it through? Because I made it like 3 episodes.
Uh,
in. Not far.
Yeah, because I told you the first season, couple episodes are very boring. But
Yeah.
it's, if I want to say 2 or 3 I got through. But to be honest, it was like in
Seasons
the
or
background
episodes?
of work. Season 2 or
It's like
3.
not
That's
you
a
and
big-
Evan
big
stopping after
difference.
2 or 3 episodes.
No, I was
Uh,
like, I have to commit. I want
Yeah.
to know what's going on.
Our
But
good
a
friend
lot
of the
of the
podcast,
oh,
Tommy,
sorry, go
said
ahead.
the ending was really good, though. That's all I'll throw out.
Oh,
I haven't seen it
okay.
myself, but go ahead. Sorry, Courtney.
No, I was gonna say if you follow, because I ended up like looking at all of the episode titles and just researching what some of the episodes were about. And basically all the Fox storylines line up with like all of the different storylines that the OG X-Men cartoon series did.
Okay.
So
Mm.
if you ever wanted to know kind of what kind of happened or where the storyline was going, you could have just watched the old cartoon.
Gotcha.
So
You could have
Okay.
Thought
figured
that
it
was
all out
interesting.
from that. That is interesting.
Yeah.
I, like you, I actually, my first introduction to X-Men were the Fox movies. That was, and I was
Mhm.
obsessed as a kid. Not gonna lie, like obsessed. And so I did then watch Evolutions, but before Evolutions, I definitely caught some episodes of this as a kid. I never watched it fully by any means, but I would see episodes here and there. And, you know, cartoons were different back in the day. You could just jump in generally,
yes.
and it's a self-contained story and you love it. Oh, but X-Men 97 is anything but self-contained stories here. So, I will defend the Fox movies. I will say in
Yeah.
these 10 weeks, I have almost rewatched all of the Fox movies.
Oh wow.
That-
I haven't
Not
gone
all
that
of them,
far
but a
yet.
lot of them. Yeah, I just like,
Especially
while
the
waiting, I
early
was like, I
ones,
need
yeah.
more X-Men. Need
That's
it.
Yeah.
fair.
I'm in the same boat. You know, this X-Men animated series started in '92. That's the year I was born.
Mhm.
My social security number, no. But so I have vague recollections. I sort of remember the opening sequence, like seeing that. I remember
Mhm.
I saw this funny tweet that was like, did anyone else like in their childhood think that Beast and Wolverine were just like two different versions of the
Versions.
same character? I was like, yeah, I felt that at one point.
Evan's like, I totally did.
But I need to go on record because I remember last time, Courtney, when you were on, we had briefly brought up X-Men 97, or we were covering it as the headline that it was coming out, and I had said no one gave a shit about that series. And I don't know if it was. I think I was wrong. I think
He was
clearly
prejudging.
the fan base was there, but I don't know if it's like critically acclaimed or anything. But clearly, the fan base is passionate, and I understand why. Even revisiting some of those early episodes, you know, it's like a very early '90s cartoon. It looks like GI Joe, Magic School Bus animation. It's
Yes.
you know, it's super dated, but. I mean, the couple episodes I watched, it moves at the same breakneck pace that X-Men 97 does. So,
I like that.
yeah, I need more X-Men.
Oh,
I'm
Nom,
so
nom, nom.
yeah.
immersed into the world.
Go watch the Fox movies, dude. I'm telling you, they're good. How it started, too, is I watched First Class on the airplane, and I was like, oh, I
Such
gotta
good-
go watch all of these now.
You didn't used to watch them on FX. That's how
I
I,
did-
would
oh,
watch
yeah.
them.
Oh,
And they always had the
100%.
behind the scenes thing. Like the big thing
That's-
was like when Iceman handed Wolverine the beer and his hand was
How
on
they
top
did
of
it.
the neck, and then
Yeah.
and then at the bottom, people are like, ooh.
X-Men First Class
Special
is one of the
effects.
elusive only comic book movies that Haley has enjoyed watching
Oh.
with me. I'm like, she's like, there's one that's in the
Interesting.
'60s. Like, that's the only one. It's the only one.
It's amazing. And
Yeah.
we're going to get into it here. I think as I get older, what I appreciate about X-Men is when I was a kid, I was just blindly like, oh, well, Charles is the good guy. He's got the right way. He's got the right idea here. As I get older, this sides
Magneto
become
was
more
right.
complicated.
Yes.
And it becomes a bit more messy on who is right and who's wrong. And so I'm excited to get into all of that with you guys. But I think we should probably get into our moments here, right? Unless there's anything else before we dive in.
I mean, before we dive in, one sort of, I don't want to call it a misstep, but like a momentary faltering of my confidence or going into the series is right like the week before they aired the first episode. Showrunner Bo DeMaio
Is fired.
was fired from the series, and
That
it's been
was
interesting to
scary.
watch him tweet throughout the whole thing, giving all the behind the scenes of like the production and telling like all the showrunner notes basically, and he's been super
Yep.
supportive and pushing the premieres. But I think, you know, Disney hasn't come out right and said why he was fired, but people think it's because he has an OnlyFans, which
Mhm.
You know, Disney,
make a
like, get with
living.
the times. Pay your writers better if you don't
Yeah.
want them being on OnlyFans. That's what I say. Anyways,
I was also worried about that too, Evan, but man, and I don't know if he was still showrunner for the next season. We would have gotten as inside a look via Twitter into some of these episodes and plot points. I don't think he would have just been live tweeting the way he was about it. So I very much enjoyed that, and I appreciated him giving us these notes and tidbits and insider facts. And OnlyFans or not, I really like the guy.
he's I would say, and you know, I don't know where the division of like who in the writers' room is, but like X-Men 97, my overall impression is that like it came with something to say, and like I think that's the thing, and that's what I'm gonna say. Makes it one of the best comic book adaptations of all time. It's up there.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
I
let's
totally
get into
agree.
our moments.
Let's do it. How do we do this? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
Are we
We needed like a
Tiger
wheel,
Sure.
and then it lands
I'll
on
start.
whoever.
I'll start
Okay,
with a
Evan's-
lighthearted
It was
one.
his idea, so we're gonna start with Evan.
I'll start.
Guinea pig.
One of my favorite things going into this season that I had no.
We're going reverse order, right? Sorry
Yeah,
to interrupt.
starting
you.
from five, going to
starting with 5.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, just making
And
sure.
they don't necessarily have to be, you know, in
It's your
ranked
favorite.
order.
It doesn't need to.
Yes.
Oh, I have them in an order, but it's your
Okay, but
favorite. It's
I'm gonna-
subjective.
Yeah, I'm gonna go from my number 5 favorite to my number 1 favorite.
Cool.
Anyways.
Cool.
I really liked getting to explore the Madeline Pryor, Jean Grey clones. Okay, heavy spoilers. Also, heavy spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about everything in this
If you
season.
haven't watched X-Men, this is all gonna sound extremely insane to you.
Inside baseball, because I have like vague knowledge of the comic books. I haven't read too many. I've probably read more Wikipedia articles about X-Men than comic books or any specific
that's
properties.
fair.
I used to I want to say like second grade book fair at a Scholastic book fair. I bought a little X-Men handbook, and I brushed up on a lot of mutant knowledge, but then never really like dove into it. Anyways, Madeline Pryor is a clone of Jean Grey. Jean Grey, and they drop this on you 3 episodes into this season. That the one who we've been watching for 3 episodes that just had a child that we thought was Jean Grey was actually Madeline Pryor. And she's like a minion of Mr. Sinister. I don't get what his whole deal is. I think that's maybe one I need to
Mr. Sinister
look up.
is like very sinister. 1, if the name didn't tell you. 2, he's like a geneticist, like he's obsessed with DNA and he's a mutant, and so he like steals people's mutations and takes them for himself. And Jean being one of the most powerful mutants, it was like always, you know, his thing. He wanted to make a clone of her, and he eventually does.
Yeah. But specifically, I loved her magical girl transformation into hot goth chick.
Started
It was
Evan.
so 90s.
I was gonna say they actually like
It's like, oh,
were pretty
they're doing it.
conservative with
Yeah.
her outfit in the in the series compared to the comics. So yeah.
Like Cyclops, I get it. I get why you're willing to risk it all.
Who else likes to
On
spicy
paper.
redhead?
All the same. What do
So-
you guys think of that storyline?
I
loved
loved
it.
it. I'm actually
Twist.
I'm gonna just because it fits here. My number 5 moment is at the end of episode 2 when there's a knock at the door and Jean shows up, and we have to wait a whole week of being like, "There's 2 Jeans? What is this?" So this feeds right into that. I was so right from the jump because they released episode 1 and 2, and episode 2 ended, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in. I'm hooked." I was like, "I'm here for it." I was like, "Are you kidding me? There's 2 Jeans." At times, this show felt very soap opera-y, but in
That's
the
why it's
best way.
amazing.
Yes.
That's why so many people love X-Men. It's like the Bravo for nerdy people, you
It's
know?
amazing.
Days of Our Lives.
Yes.
Because
You got
Yep.
different love triangles, like
Mhm.
literally like 4 or 5 love
There's
triangles.
so
And then
many.
you have clones,
Mhm.
probably people in comas. It's literally Days
Yeah.
of Our Lives.
I love that you. My parents used to watch that all the time, which is why
Or
it's-
General Hospital,
Yeah.
whatever one.
But like that storyline. So Jean, end of episode 2, Jean knocks on the door. Madeline
She goes,
Pryor.
I need
All
the
happens
X-Men.
in episode
Goosebumps.
3. Resolved.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
gone by the end of episode 3.
But she comes back. She has
she
has
comes
a
back,
part.
but,
And
like,
I
that
think the
storyline.
most interesting part about it is I love the clone twist because they're like, where do my memories end and hers start?
Classic.
Neither of them know.
Mm-hmm.
Spicy.
Yeah.
But
you never
Madeline's
know. You never find out.
we never find out. And we'll never know. I think that's part of the and that's like
Mhm.
semi-traumatic. That would probably like fuck
Yeah.
with you a little.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. But they have a nice reconciliation, I think, post-mortem for Madeline because
Yeah.
she dies in Genosha.
Yes.
She
Ooh.
dies.
She
in
does.
Genosha.
R.I.P.
Another
Brutally.
spoiler.
R.I.P. We'll always have episode 3. God. transformation.
And that outfit change.
That's what that was his fifth moment. He didn't feel like he could lead with that. He had
I
to
was
start with
thinking
like
And so he's
the
like, this will
clothes
say a lot of
moment.
things
Yeah.
about me.
Okay, that's your
Yeah,
5. That's my
that's my
5.
number 5,
We had
yeah.
different takes on that part, but
Sure.
Courtney, we'll move into your number 5 moment here.
So I don't know if I have I didn't really put them in order because I
Oh,
was
okay.
just like mumbo jumbo ADHD writing a bunch of things down, and
I get that.
I didn't want to try to pick things that were similar.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just gonna start with like one of the first scenes you really see the X-Men team get into the action. Their plane ends up going down by, I think, getting struck by a sentinel or something like that in the first episode.
Mhm.
Everyone's flying through the air. You have a couple of people with like flying abilities that are saving and scooping everyone up. I think Morph changes into Angel or something and scoops
Uh-huh.
up Wolverine. We'll get to that later too.
Yeah.
And then you're like, dude, Cyclops, like who's gonna like rescue you? And he
Yeah.
has this intense like
Mm.
eye optic blast beam thing, and
Mhm.
he like basically like comes down and just like blasts into the ground. It's like really badass.
It's so bad.
That's how I knew we were going to get justice for Scott Summers. Is in that first scene. I think that was literally in the first 7 minutes or something. I'm getting
It's early.
goosebumps thinking
Yeah.
about it. And then, anyways, that whole fight scene's really cool. It's just a good introduction of what the X-Men are all about.
Yeah.
And then when he says, I don't know the exact quote, give them the forecast to storm.
Yeah.
something like
Show
So
him the
good.
forecast.
I ate it up. It was so good.
That whole fight is
Oh,
great.
and then she
Yes.
takes like the desert and like makes glass, and then it's like a glass tornado. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this is why she's like one of the best.
I think I had to text you both. I go, did she just make a glass tornado in the desert? I go, did she really just
They
fucking do that?
crazy
Yes.
shit in this.
And it
That's
was like
how I
that was
knew
episode
it was
1.
gonna
It
be
was like,
good.
episode
what?
1, yeah. Yeah.
yes, like the first 5 or 7 minutes.
Um,
Ugh.
I have to jump in here because this is my number 4. Is the
Oh.
Scott Summers superhero landing? Just full on fucking nuclear blast into the ground to gently land in his pose.
So-
And that's episode 1. I was like, that was the moment. I'm like, I'm in. And I don't know why in 20 years of X-Men adaptations on mostly on film,
Mhm.
nary has there ever been a storyline that creates Cyclops fanboys. But I'm going out of this show like he's my number
Big
one
Cyclops.
boy.
Yeah, big Cyclops guy. So I'm gonna let's go. We're talking 5-7 minutes in. Let's go like 1, 2, 3 minutes in. When Cyclops is in the building and he's using his beams to zoom, move himself all around at lightning speed, I was like, bro, whoa, where's this Cyclops been my whole
That would
life?
be something you would do.
Yeah.
I feel like
It was
pretty
sick.
sweet.
They're like swinging on him, and he's like, "Missed me."
Yeah. I think the fight scenes and his moves, or probably a lot of the moves, take cues from like the Marvel vs. Capcom games, which were like PlayStation.
Let's talk about
I think.
these.
I never.
Can we just talk about
Whoa.
fight scenes? Let's talk
Yeah.
about just all the fucking fight scenes were beautiful. If they're on your list or not, every single fight scene was gorgeously
well, the
animated.
Madeline
Some-
Pryor one is like one of the
Oh.
top ones for me. Just the visuals of that one, because the dark and the green and the
crazy.
lighting. I'm like, oh, that fight scene was probably my top one. It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, I totally
I-
get that. So Evan gave his number 4 moment. So this is maybe a good transition to my number 4.
Before you move on, though, I have
never
to.
then. Excuse me.
This is gonna sound like blasphemy.
Oh,
Oh no.
My one criticism of this show,
tread carefully.
and this is the only one there will be, is that when it is not a fight scene, and the studio that does it is Studio Mer, and this is a thing I've noticed in other shows of theirs. They did a couple, I think, the latter seasons of Legend of Korra, but when it is not a fight scene, the animation looks stiff as hell. It looks like you're watching Archer.
They're supposed to be. It's a 90. It's
See, I
modeled
don't
after the
mind
90s
that.
cartoon.
Yeah, I was gonna say
They
the
look
90s
like
is
GI
so
Joe
stiff.
characters.
No,
Yes.
no, but like
They look like
specifically,
action figures.
They only move
Is what it
at,
is.
like,
Is
the
they're
joints.
designed in the 90s. That was the whole shtick. Was
Probably
they were
look like
supposed to look
toys.
like action figures, so they could
Yes.
sell action figures.
No,
Yes.
I think it's they're saving their budget to animate the hell out of the fight scenes, which
It
they
can
do.
be
And this
both.
is
It can be
it's a
fucking
thing-
both.
It's a thing that they joke about in Invincible, and
I
the
love that.
season 2 showrunner for
Mhm.
X-Men 97. Even he, I just saw a thing where he was talking to a reporter, and they're saying season 2 is going to be a ways out because animation takes a long time, and he references the Invincible
Bastards.
line where like the bit where they make fun of like doing it. Anyways, that's my one.
So at the
criticism.
news right now, also they've finished the voice recording for season 2. They're like in post production.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay, I think the animation is still at the animatic phase, which is like the
I think so.
movie storyboarding,
Early phase.
moving storyboard phase. That's it. I just have to,
One
this is
criticism.
My one criticism, I have to leave it out there. Otherwise, I would not be being an honest critic.
Now I'm gonna rewatch it, and that's all I'm gonna think
I know.
about.
I'm sorry.
Evan.
I'm
I'm
going to
not.
ruin this for you.
I won't.
Ugh.
I refuse to let it get me down. It won't.
There's one scene where Charles is talking to Cyclops or Magneto, and it's like
Mhm.
cutting to like just.
Oh no!
They're
Literally the Invincible
yeah,
scene.
doing the Invincible.
I did
thing.
a couple times. They hit a mouth, and I was like, "God damn it!" Now that it's been drawn to my attention,
Yeah.
so fine, we will take the one criticism, I guess,
Anyways,
and I'm gonna move on to my fourth favorite moment. We're sticking with right out of the gate. This show impressed me. Episode 1 was
Mhm.
amazing, but episode 2, the whole ending, like I said, the two genes showing up, I was obsessed with. But then even just before that, my number 4 moment is Magneto's speech at the UN when this is some of the writing in this show was like poetry. Like it was.
Mhm.
It dances on your ears. I don't even know how to describe it, but so I wrote down some quotes. The judges, the UN. First off, this trial is so exaggerated. They have him in like chains in a circle. Like I was like, oh my
So
god,
in his
this would
slutty
never.
little outfit.
In his slutty little
Not
outfit.
yet.
So
With his armbands up to here, I'm like, that's for the girlies, man.
Hey,
Oh
Bo
my
knew what he
God.
was doing for this season.
Yeah.
and so they were like, they're here for Magneto, I imagine. And then someone goes, yeah, and you judges. And the judge is like, why would they want us? And he goes, you gave a monster a trial. Now you're traitors to your own kind. Oh, to play by the rules, and they still come for you. I like locked in. You know what I mean? When you're like watching something, you're like, whoa, what did he
Yeah.
just say? And then he goes on to say, all these this is after Storm loses her powers. She gets
Yeah,
shot by
she
the
gets
guy
phasered.
I
trying to take.
cried.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really upsetting. And this is Magneto's crying too. And Magneto goes, all these X-Men have done is use their awesome, he literally says, awesome powers to help humanity, and look at their reward. What must we do to be good enough? Is this the high road's destination? Oh, God. And then he goes, it's so often. So if it is, then I say what I have so many times before. Never again. And then he just takes them all into fucking space. This, I'm not kidding. The writing and just the drama at the end of episode 2, I knew this was going to be special, right? Like here and there. I was like, oh, I started texting everyone, hey, you got to watch this. Go watch this.
Yeah, they do comic book camp justice, and it's not tongue in cheek.
Yes.
It's not the typical MCU, like winking a nudge, poking fun at itself. And I think that's what people want out of comic book stuff at this point. It's like we're tired of the quippy banter. Like we came here to see people in motherfucking spandex, look hot, look muscly, and
They
say
all
some
were.
dramatic
They
ass
really-
shit.
They really humanize these, or
Yes.
they like take these very human struggles and they like color them up with the superhero identity. And it just, I could eat it.
Well, like kind of tying into the Storm thing. Like I said, I cried because
Mm.
I think in episode one or two. It's one of the ones where she's talking to Jean /
It's
Madeline.
right before this.
She says something about being wanting to know what it's like to be human or normal.
This whole
And then it's like,
Jean.
jinxing it.
Well, so it's Madeline, but we think it's Jean. She's like, how am I supposed to explain to my child that he's not normal? Like that he's, you know what I mean? And she's like, I've oftentimes wondered what it would be like to be a human. Boom. Like less than 10 minutes later, she's losing her powers.
Yeah.
And then it's so good. That's damn good writing.
Yeah. And I don't know if we get this from, the animated series, but like Storm loses her powers end of episode 2, and you're like, oh shit, like this show has real stakes for these characters. Eventually people fucking die in this. Like a whole country of mutants dies eventually. But to your point, Alex, I think one thing this X-Men have always been a metaphor for civil rights.
Yes.
Just like the progression of human rights. And I think one thing that this show does very well is like make it so even the most ignorant comic book viewer, the most obtuse person cannot miss it. It's not hitting you over the head with it, but it is being so direct and so clear and so well articulated that like it's incredibly powerful as a show with hot.
I feel like
mostly
Magneto
costume
has
people.
multiple speeches like that.
Mhm.
Like I think there's like one more at the end of the series.
I guess
Yeah.
we'll just
It's
have
just
to
like,
see if it makes it on my list.
I don't
or
think
not.
there's a single moment where I disagreed with Magneto or like very strongly agreed with Charles. Like, is Charles the most annoying character in this show?
Yeah.
This is what makes the rewatches of these movies really interesting, though, is like
Uh-huh.
Charles is doing bad things for the greater good, but like Magneto's like, I'm only doing bad things for mutant good, and you're like, oh wait, maybe what? So just since we're getting into it, we can talk more about it. Like to me, the show is at its best when it is about those metaphors, and it's about Charles and Eric, their struggle of how to solve these issues as the people who are suffering from the prejudice of the humans in this world. And so what they do a really good job of is like they don't make either one of them 100% right. Neither one is 100% right, neither one's 100% wrong. Like Charles should be right, like in an idealistic world, but Magneto's like, no, I live in this world. Like that's the actions.
world.
Yeah. And so I find it so interesting because there's a lot of times Charles makes really shitty decisions and you're like, whose side are you on, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of goes into my number 4. So when Magneto is finally freed, I'm sorry, I don't remember which episode because they all kind of run together. Finally is freed from his like little machine thing, and he like takes it into his hands to. This is when all the people start turning into Sentinel things as well, and that's all. Sorry, I kind of have 2 points here. One, it kind of goes into it's like a metaphor. Another one, you really don't know how people feel until something happens. Like Beast was talking to his like former love interest, and then suddenly when all the Sentinel people start changing, she changes. And it's like you never really know how someone feels about an issue. It's like kind of mind-blowing. Yeah. So that happened. And then I just liked that whole series. And then when Magneto finally gets free, he's like, yeah, fuck this. And then just annihilates like all power,
Knocks
electricity
out all of
everywhere. And it's like, it was so good. But I was like, yeah, I'm on his side.
It was chilling.
Even though I know a couple planes might have like a couple things might have happened. Like
down gently,
we got a
like,
Spider-Man
mega
cameo.
level mutant. Guys.
Yeah.
I was like, but they like bombed a whole island, so it's kind of like I don't know.
During
I'm
a
like
dance.
a Magneto apologist. I'm like,
But that's what the show does so well is like, I don't think anyone can fault you for saying Magneto was right. That's what's great about it.
And
like you need a neutral territory.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
And so many of the events in this season are like they're pretty clear allegories for things that have happened in like our recent collective memory.
I think the creator said the Genosha attack while we're just talking about it was reminiscent of like the Pulse nightclub. Like they're literally
Pulse
dancing
nightclub,
and
then,
celebrating.
like 9/11 with the the
where you
brother.
think you're safe in somewhere
Yeah.
with people like you and you're not.
Yeah.
And then the UN thing. I was just like, this is January 6th.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's X-Men is at its best when it's serving these metaphors. It
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
is.
Yeah. Gosh.
Shoot. Okay, that was your number 4 moment. We will bounce
Yes.
back to Alex because his number 3 moment was Magneto was right. The UN senator. So it really leads up to just like she was like, I was there, and she goes, you know what the most shocking part about it was? Nobody was shocked. This was everyone. She goes, everyone's going to hear about it and move on with their daily life. But do you know, all I could think in that moment was when you built murdering robots and send them to an island to destroy these people's homes. All I could think was Magneto was right. Oh, and this is what the show does is like Charles in that idealistic world, he's very show them a better path. We can show them a better path. But Magneto, time and time again, the humans prove Magneto right. He says it later on when he's trying to recruit the X-Men, but he's like, I tried your path, Charles. Are you willing to try mine now? And Charles flat out goes, nah.
Nah.
Yeah.
This is Magneto gave, and God, we haven't even gotten into what a great twist it was to have Magneto lead the X-Men throughout this because it's so realistic. They're best friends. Charles would leave everything to Magneto and be like, I'm leaving my dream, my hope for humanity and mutants in your hands. And Eric would reluctantly be like, God damn it, I have to do it for Charles.
I can't say no.
I can't say no, he's my best friend.
Yeah. It's a nice, their dynamic's fascinating. I feel in live action it was best portrayed with James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender.
It was.
Yeah,
Those two
I
were
loved that duo.
so, especially in
They
First
touched
Class.
on it beautifully.
Yeah.
And what the X-Men, now that I'm an adult, they really blur the lines. Like, they work together quite often. And then by the end of the movie, they're on separate sides again. So they have the same end goal in mind. They just have totally different ways of going about it.
Yeah. Can we talk about the mechanics of how he's able to shack up with Rogue?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, he can just do everything.
He can do everything.
Touching the one
slutty
untouchable
outfit,
person.
Evan.
So everyone thinks he's just like a magnet, but he actually controls
Chick magnet.
electromagnetic, like a what is it?
Electromagnetic fields. Yeah.
Fields. That's the word I was looking for. Electromagnetic fields, and so he creates like it's essentially like they're touching, but he's got an electromagnetic field barrier between them. It's like an ultra thin condom, I think is the pitch.
Everything is so horny about this show.
The show is so horny in the best ways. You don't even care about the age gap.
Yeah.
You're like, isn't he like 80 years older than her?
Yeah, it's definitely not suitable for under 13 or PG.
Yeah,
It's definitely
for sure.
PG-13
It's for people
here.
who saw the original.
Yeah.
It's made for
And
people
are
in
maybe
their
down to
30s.
see Logan and Morph get down in a steamy shower.
Maybe.
Hey.
Whatever floats your boat. It's not my honorable mention would be all the ships, showmances, love triangles.
Let's
Love
go
it.
through
Eat
them.
it up.
Let's go through them.
So there's the classic Wolverine, Jean and Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But then they add Madeline Pryor into it to make
Yeah.
it a double love triangle. And I think they really do the justice of the love triangle. How Logan clearly is like pining after her, but then when she kisses him, he's like, "No, you're Jean Grey. He's Scott Summer. Those are the rules. You just forgot him for a minute."
You know it, Logan. I'm a full convert. I'm Team Cyclops, Jean or Madeline.
Evan's like, he can
Anyone
have
with the
both.
redhead, he said.
Yeah.
He's like, the redhead's fine.
But
My thing is Jean and Logan should get together, and Scott and Madeline should probably be
No,
together.
I want a Jean
No.
and Wolverine thing.
it should be
I
Oh my
don't
God.
know.
Scott and Jean Ann.
I don't know. Jean
And
did
Emma
like
Frost.
interrupt or like go into his mind, and they were like
And they
chit chatting. So it
Oh,
was
they
kinda
were
like something
making
going
out.
on.
They were, and he's like, "We've been doing this for a month." A month? And then we didn't even. There's Gambit. There's Rogue. Wow, we
Magneto.
didn't even mention Gambit because we're never. We'll get
We're
to it.
waiting
We'll
till
get
the
to it. We'll
end.
get to it. So we have Rogue, Gambit, and Magneto, which was not one I was expecting at all. And
It is in the comics.
I
so-
know, I just wasn't. I don't know why I didn't
It's
think
weird,
they'd
though.
go there. Yeah, I just didn't think
Yeah.
they'd go there.
But
Um,
it helps when you have like super sexy arms out Magneto.
It
so-
helps
It
when
helps when
Magneto's
it's-
serving
when you're
cunt
not
every episode.
picturing Ian McKellen in the role. Maybe Michael Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender could pull it off, but
For
not
sure.
Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
Also, while we're just on the topic, taking a break from the list for a second, no Mystique all season. Did you guys think
I
Mystique was going to
know.
come in? I actually
I
really
thought she was going to be the senator or
same
something.
here, Courtney.
Yeah.
Probably leaving room for it. I don't know. Is she canonically Kurt's mother? Nightcrawler's
Yeah.
mother?
Yes.
Okay.
And
And
kind of
rogues?
rogues. Kind of rogues.
Yeah, but I don't remember
I-
exactly how that all played out. I remember
I
the
think
Kurt
it's more
stuff.
of like an adoptive situation.
Oh,
like she
gotcha,
raised
gotcha.
Rogue.
Okay.
And
Is
then...
that who brought her to Magneto? Oh, that would make sense.
No, she was... So Rogue was like kind of
Magneto
bad
was
before.
right. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I know.
So-
That's why she was with Magneto.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Charles.
Oh, no, yeah.
Kind of. I don't know the past. I just know that they like were
Yeah.
definitely maybe mentor and mentee, which makes it a little weirder. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And then
Inappropriate,
the
but
new
we-
dynamic
it's the show.
was like the Morph pining after Logan, which I was like,
I loved that.
Throw me for a surprise,
I,
Luke.
I
I
loved
want to
it.
root for Morph, but also the changing into his past love interest feels a little
I
manipulative.
know.
It feels,
Feels
a
a
It
little.
little
was, wasn't
manipulative.
it?
And he does it earlier in the season
I
too
mean,
when
he
she's
did
pregnant.
think everyone was on their deathbed.
Yeah.
So
I know. Yeah, I thought he was trying to like motivate him to get him back alive again. He's
Yeah.
like, she can't say it, but
Sure.
I can. And he's like, I love you, Logan.
Hmm. I think, but I think that's one thing Bo tweeted was like that was like
He did.
Morph. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
I love it.
appreciate this.
Morph
insight
was a
from
great.
Bo.
I don't want to say addition because Morph is in the original, but like Morph is not someone we normally see, and Morph is strong as fuck. If he can,
He's
he can.
badass. I want more screen
Morphed
time with
into
him.
the Hulk.
He
The
morphed
fuck?
into exactly when he went Hulk. I go, oh, this is crazy. I go, how is this possible? But also, I have an issue with like Rogue. She took Captain Marvel's powers, and that's like why she's Superman all season long. Can she
So why
take
can't she do
non-mutant
everything else?
powers? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Is it Captain Marvel or a different Marvel?
Oh, I think it was Captain Marvel. Sorry,
Oh,
it was
yeah,
in the
that's
original.
weird.
It was in the original one. I read this recently because I just
Okay.
was accepting that she got.
What
some
happened to
strong-
Captain Marvel then? Like permanent coma?
I don't know. Rogue took her powers. I don't know. Maybe. We get a lot of cameos. While we're just in the middle here, what was your favorite cameo?
Ooh.
I'll give an honorable mention to Captain America being
Even though he
Like-
was kind of an ass.
ACAB cap.
He always is an ass.
Yeah.
What are
Um,
you talking about?
I really like that this show, because that's always, I feel like, a lot of people's questions. They're like, in the MCU, how are there super powered people, but they're like racist against the mutants? And I was like, exactly. That's part of the issue. Is that if you don't work
Exactly.
for the government, if you're not their lapdog, where were Captain America and
Yeah,
Iron Man
you
when?
literally see. Yes.
When'd you notice
You
you
see
guys?
Where were
Iron Man-
they?
Iron Man and Captain America.
Yeah, when
watching
everything was going
the
down,
shit
no, they were
going
with the
down.
president protecting his ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that leaves room for there's like later comics, Avengers vs. X-Men, like a storyline.
Oh, that would be
That would
so
be
fun if
fucking
they.
badass. But I think that's like
I think that's how they
like,
should
that's probably like a
introduce X-Men to
aughts
the MCU.
comics.
Honestly, have them
That'd
fight
be
the
pretty sweet.
Avengers.
Yeah, because
Um,
they've done a piss poor job of it already.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey,
So
we got Kamala Khan. Is that her name?
yeah, dog,
Miss
the
Marvel?
first mutant, Kamala
The
Khan.
first mutant.
So that was my number 3. Magneto was right. Oh, my favorite I had to actually probably be Spider-Man, just because I really wasn't expecting it.
Of
And all week I
course.
started questioning. I go, is Spider-Man maybe the most popular superhero of all time?
Up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
I would
got to
think
be
that
up
or
there.
Batman or Superman.
I think it's
think
one of
that-
those 3 for sure.
One of those three,
But
yeah.
I feel
Spider-Man's
like
in the
everyone
conversation.
loves Spider-Man. You know what I
love
mean?
Spider-Man.
Everyone loves. I
Yeah.
love Spider. I saw him. I was so excited, and it got me
Yeah.
realizing. I was like, "Oh, I do love Spider-Man." Sometimes I could be a little bit of a hater, but I was like, "Oh, he's so fun. I love him."
I only hate Tom Holland Spider-Man movies.
You don't go watch him again.
Just the third one. No, the second.
I
Yeah.
watched the
one's
third one
like
on the
duds.
plane. It was good. It was good. You'd like it. Go watch it again.
So
Planes are
overrated.
you watching MCU?
I watched.
things on?
So I started on the runway, and I realized I got like 30 minutes into first class before we even took off. So I was able to finish
Holy
both these
moly.
movies on one plane ride.
I'll use that movie as a specific example of everything that's wrong with the MCU. That's all flash and no substance.
This is
X-Men
all
97
substance
is all substance and a bunch of flash.
and a shitload of flash too.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my number 3 moment. Let's then swing back to Evan.
Yeah.
We could get into your number 3. We went on a tangent.
Yeah, this
rightfully
was
so.
a pretty brief moment, but in the attack on Charles's academy from the Prime Sentinels when they first get activated, we get this really cool moment with Wolverine and Nightcrawler, where Nightcrawler pulls a Prime Sentinel and in turn Wolverine through his teleportation, and so you get this like first person view of like your Wolverine like being pulled through this like purple cloud, and he goes through wherever Kurt goes through, and it was like we've never seen that in any of the
Never.
animated
great.
shows and any of the animated or any of the live action movies, but like that's what I love is like this show is giving us like a truly comic book I don't know that that's ever been done in a comic book, like, but it's not fan service, but it's like something more than fans will appreciate, but like especially fans will appreciate.
What's also great, that whole moment really starts off with like Logan skydiving while fighting, and that whole
Oh,
shit
yeah.
was just
Yes.
unreal. Like, once again, one of those moments where like sometimes I'm guilty of this. Like when people stop talking, I have a tendency to pick up my phone and like check it for a second. But like this was one of those moments I was locked back in. I was like, whoa, look at this. And he's flying through the sky. Because well, the greatest part about Wolverine is not his metal claws, but it's that his healing factor makes him have the biggest I don't give a
Ooh.
fuck attitude of any
Maybe towards the end,
superhero.
not so much.
Yeah,
Mhm.
true,
Yeah.
true. Here I am defending him post metal. I'm like, it's not his metal that makes him special. No, I didn't even think about it like that. But obviously, his claws are fucking sick. But like
Yeah.
the fact that he's able to just like he doesn't like try to stop himself from falling. He's like, fuck it, I'll take this fall. I'll live.
His bones are made of adamantium. Meanwhile, the whole fight, Miss Rogue is
Hey, leave my
Sugar?
girl alone.
Sugar?
Leave my girl alone.
what's going on here?
So, that was. She slept through it all, and
I want whatever pill she has
Yeah.
because I want to sleep that good.
Oh boy.
she got knocked the fuck out. Is what her pill
What was she recovering? Was she recovering from like the first Prime Sentinel
From-
attack?
The very first. Remember, so she fucking has.
She kills.
I've always.
She
I
kills.
always thought his name was
Yes.
Oliver Trask, but it's Bolivar with a B. His name is Bolivar
news
Trask.
to me.
I literally always thought it was Oliver Trask, but in the show, the
I did
subtitles
too.
very clearly Bolivar Trask. She's hanging him over the ledge,
Weird
and she's
name.
like, "What else can you tell us?" And he's like, "Nothing." She's like, "Then I got nothing for you," and she drops him.
I loved that. I also am a rogue
there are
apologist.
at least two people who are standing right behind her who could have easily saved that guy.
I know. They're like,
They were so shocked.
Yeah.
They were so shocked.
you had Gene right there. Gene literally could have
Gene threw.
caught the guy.
Threw
Ready for this
half
though,
the building
guys?
they
He
were
didn't
standing
die.
in.
He didn't die. He
Okay,
turned
that's-
into a
No.
Prime Sentinel and flew
Okay.
back up
Did.
and goes, "Must destroy."
And then
mutants."
annihilated her, and that's how she got
That's how
knocked
she
out.
got knocked
Okay,
out. But
okay,
then
okay.
what's also great about Evan's moment, his number 3 moment, was when she's like, "Why are you fighting against the inevitable?" And he's like, "I got 6 reasons right here, bub." And then fucking Nightcrawler comes in and goes, 9. And he's got 3 more
Oh, I
blades.
loved that.
Oh,
Bolivar Trask in live action was played by Peter Dinklage.
hell
the
yeah, he
inventor
was.
Of the Sentinels. Days of Future Past, great movie. Probably the last great X-Men movie, unfortunately, we'll have for a while.
But I also think one of like the best superhero movies of all time. And I
For sure.
applaud them for bridging the two universes and being
Mhm.
like, no, we can make this one. Like they wrote in their own reboot very naturally, in my
It
opinion.
was like Star Trek almost, 2001.
yeah. Oh, great comparison.
But
Yeah,
I think, that movie's another example of like, I think that why that is so celebrated is because it's just balls to the wall X-Men.
yeah.
Days
Yes.
of Future Past, like they're not stopping to explain every little beat to you. Like
Right.
they know the audience wants this shit. So
It goes 100 miles an hour.
Mhm.
1 minute you're in a Motendo fighting a virtual bad guy that we don't care about. The
Yep.
next, you're fucking on an alien planet where Charles is being crowned king of the planet. And you're like, how do we get here?
Yeah, the Shi'ar episode was probably a skip on my rewatch at least. I like sat through the Jubilee episode. I sat through
I know.
I did.
Charles episode.
I skipped
should've just
around
gone
him. I go, I'm going to get
over
right
it.
to the juice.
Oh, it's
No,
an
yeah, as to say,
extinction.
there wasn't enough like juice to it.
Not enough juice. Okay,
Also,
so
Charles is the most annoying. Anyways, what are we on? Are we on?
we're still on moment 3, but we're
Okay.
on Courtney. It's Courtney's turn for her third moment.
So mine kind of, like I said, mine are just like kind of scattered.
Jumbled
but
around.
one of my moments was Evan's. But it was also kind of like my favorite cameo, Nightcrawler.
Okay.
He's
Oh,
like
yes,
one
yes,
of
yeah.
my favorite X-Men. Like, so having him pop up in the Genosha island scene, but there's like a lot of background X-Men that you kind of see in passing on that island as
Mhm.
well. I'm trying to think, and I'm like can't think of any right now, but
There was Leech.
just like they
We
just
follow
look so
Leech
familiar.
around.
Yes, Leech is a big one. That whole moment. Well, are we gonna?
we
should
can wait. We
save
can wait. We
remember
can wait.
it
We
for
can
the
wait.
end?
Yeah, we can wait.
Yeah,
we
okay.
can wait. We can wait.
So I was super pumped about that. Evan, Alex, and I have like a group chat, and I
Yeah.
like changed our picture to the Kurt Rogue Gambit photo. Like I love that
Yeah.
moment.
When he hugs him,
And-
yeah, he's so
yeah.
excited to see
And then
him.
we get Nightcrawler in the intro, but at a cost.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like I was waiting for like
I like that he
Kurt
comes
to like
back.
join the
he
team.
did come back though. He helped
did.
him. He helped him in the end.
Yeah.
So
So
I agree.
that was
I
like
love
one of my
Kurt.
favorite moments. It's to get one of my favorite characters because you guys know my absolute favorite character is not in this series. So he's like probably one of my second.
Nightcrawler's the one for the
Yeah.
for the series. Okay.
Do you think that stems from Evolutions? Because he was a pretty prominent character in Evolutions, right?
Yeah, and that's like probably why I like Shadowcat as much too.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
really like Rogue a lot too, and I really like Storm. Storm is just such a
Storm.
badass female, and I like Rogue too because she's always kind of like a gray. She can be a gray
We-
character as well.
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
see that.
And we do
And
see
I
that.
love a gray character because I feel like that's where I would fall in. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of like you said, a Magneto apologist than a Charles right now.
That's
so
fair.
Yeah.
I get why
I'm torn
she
because-
ended up going
Because
on
I hate Charles, but
and following him.
I love Cyclops.
Okay,
Well,
but let's talk about that because
so-
Cyclops at the end was second guessing Charles
Yeah,
too.
That's true.
So
Good friend of the podcast, Tommy Pizzullo, pointed out to me that Cyclops is actually pretty center of Magneto and Charles. Like, he may be actually the correct path if you think about it. He's willing to fight when you have to, but he also is willing to give
Mhm.
chances when you have to as well. So he's really interesting.
Yeah.
But at the end, we see he gave Charles too many chances, and Charles I
Yeah.
feel like in a weaker cartoon, Charles said his apology. And Scott just walked away. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, he didn't say anything. He's like, that was not an acceptance of that apology. So I really like that he is questioning Charles because I think, sometimes you should question Charles' ways.
Hey, I'm pro Cyclops here. He can't do wrong in my eyes. He's the coolest.
So was he your favorite in the series, Cyclops?
Yes, unequivocally,
Yeah.
my favorite.
Courtney
he's
was your
actually one
favorite.
of my favorites in this
Oh.
too. Rogue
Yeah.
is probably my favorite.
Rogue was your
Um,
favorite in the
yeah.
series.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mine was Gambit, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
That was from the
Wait.
old-
So,
old
Courtney,
one,
who's
too.
your favorite mutant that's not in this series?
Kitty,
Oh,
Shadowcat,
okay.
the one who
Shadowcat.
like goes through
Gotcha,
walls and
gotcha.
stuff. Yeah.
It's a great
Which another
Whoop.
kind of like we'll go back to what Evan I think said about guest appearances or snippets. Forge has like at the end of it all, like when they're like kind of looking to see what mutants
got
are left.
bored.
Of course, I paused it to see
Mhm.
who they were talking about.
Bored.
Smart.
And there's a bunch of mutants on there that maybe we'll see in season 2, and
Let's
one
talk
of them's her.
yeah.
So we'll see.
You
She
took
was
a-
there.
You sent us a picture of it.
One
didn't
of the
you?
more
Who's-
interesting
Okay, I didn't know if
ones
I
to me
sent it or not.
I thought
was
you
that
did.
Pietro and Wanda were off
Are off?
world.
Yeah.
What are they doing
Was
off
that
world?
something I didn't know? Is that
I
like
don't
an MCU thing?
They must
No?
be
Okay,
with the
because I'm not
Avengers.
caught up.
They must be with the Avengers fighting something in space. is my
Okay.
guess,
Like
'cause it said-
Thanos or some shit, or like
yeah, I don't know.
Secret Wars.
Because think about it, we only
Hmm.
saw Iron Man and Cap, and the rest of the Avengers are probably in space doing some ish. Maybe we'll get into it. I hope, because I feel like they were very respectful to all the cameos they did. I hope they give them maybe a
Yes.
little more leniency to do stuff in the future.
I can't find it right now, or maybe I just have cleared my memory, so I can't see the picture. But one that I did want to see on there was Iceman. He's a founding member.
Iceman's there.
Bobby Drake.
Yes.
At Bobby Drake. I love
He's
it.
a good one too.
Evan and I are wannabe movie critics. We're also wannabe chefs.
We're all doing more cooking at home now. If you want to elevate your home cooking, you need nice tools to do it. Louis Kitchenware will get you there. They have beautiful stainless steel pans, non-stick bakeware, knives, all the stuff you need. Safe, high-quality materials, constructed to last, made in the United States, founded in Detroit.
Moving into my condo, we got hand-me-downs. So this new Louis Kitchenware has been great, and we love the discount. We want to share that with our listeners.
You can use code 2DUDES, that's TWO dudes, at louiskitchenware.com, and that'll give you 10% off anything on the site.
Check out our link in bio.
Two dudes watch cartoons. Yeah.
We've talked about a couple of the cameos or people, like who are some other mutants you guys want to see in future seasons?
Good question.
I think Paralysis is her name.
Okay. Tell me.
You were
That-
so ready with that, and I can't even picture who Paralysis is. Who? Just
I
give me
think
more.
that's her name. Don't quote me on that.
What does she do?
Okay,
I have one
She's
guess. what
Magneto's
her
daughter?
power is.
She was. What'd she say, Courtney?
okay. So remember when Magneto's has his little flashback of like important people on the boat?
Yeah,
She's at one of them.
the green daughter. Her name is Polaris.
Thank you. I
Polaris,
knew
okay.
it. I want to see her because
Yeah.
I want to see like some kind of like offspring of Magneto to come into this.
Yeah, his three
So-
kids and Rogue were on the boat, and Rogue was the only visible
Yeah,
one. I was like, does he
did
not
think
care
Rogue
about his
was
kids?
a little weird. Yeah, I did think Rogue was a little weird. But I thought maybe it was like an not like an Easter egg. Maybe it was like teasing something, like
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
showing their faces.
Maybe,
you know,
Polaris
Yeah.
is a good one. Kitty
Maybe they'll
is up
make
there
their
for
way
me. Iceman's good.
Iceman's good.
I'm trying to think who else. Do you have one, Evan?
I want to see Emma more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Emma
more
Frost.
Frost.
I need more Cyclops love triangles.
Stop.
Uh,
Okay. yeah.
Emma
Wait,
Frost is
okay,
one of
wait, I
those.
know that's why he's saying he wants more Emma. She had a moment where Madeline was like, "Oh, my mind drifted off for a second," and she was like, "Oh, drifted."
say.
Like she had like she was spying on it.
Emma was watching. She's like, "Ooh, Cyclops
Ooh.
got that good stroke."
I don't know. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, in the spirit of my undying love for the Summers family, I want to see Scott Summers' little brother, Havoc. I don't know what
He's on. Oh, he's on that.
He's on the
poster,
board,
I
I'm
think,
pretty sure,
Evan.
yeah.
Yes.
I don't know
I
exactly
had
what
to
his
look him
powers
up,
are,
'cause I was like,
except
who's this blonde
I think he
guy?
shoots
He's
beams
got
from his
laser
hands
powers
and-
too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna go a swerve with my hope for season 2. I want to see the Fantastic Four because to me,
Did they make a cameo at all?
he Morph at one point turned into Mr. Fantastic.
That was it. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Because to me, they are mutants also, but they are like
Mhm.
man-made mutants, like space, like radiation. So is the Hulk. The Hulk's a mutant. His genes have been mutated, but they treat them so
evolution.
differently, not through evolution. And so I think there's some interesting story there, and I think that could be fun.
Okay. Yeah.
But I want to see like
Like-
Kitty, Iceman. Those are my hopes.
I know.
Okay.
Give me a new rendition of Spike from Evolutions. I think he's
hated
a
Spike.
no. I love Spike.
Spike, I feel like served as like the new Jubilee for what Jubilee was
That's
in the
fair.
original animated series as the
Jubilee's great when she tries to fly.
Well, Jubilee's like the Kitty.
yeah, she's the
equal
youngest
of
one.
this.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like they had a series that Kitty was like the star of, and then it didn't work, and then they did the.
Did you
OG
see
X-Men or something.
Bo tweeted the pilot of that episode, and it was like I think it very
No, I missed that.
closely resembles the just like Magneto's base in space storyline, but he tweeted it,
I'll have
and
to
you
go
can
back and
or
look.
maybe it's on like YouTube or something.
Yeah.
Pretty fun pilot. I don't know. Animation looks pretty good. All right, should we jump back into
Final 2 moments.
final 2? Yeah.
Who wants to start us off?
Who wants to talk about the elephant in the room?
It's not yet
Are we
for
waiting?
me. Like,
Okay.
I'll do
I was
mine.
gonna say it's also at my.
I'll do
Yeah.
mine. I'll do mine. Mine is when our good buddy Logan gets stripped of his adamantium. To me, this was such a like what the fuck moment. Like it makes so much sense. All these years he's been fighting a villain with magnetism powers, and he's got metal lining his body. We've always, even when they sent him on the space mission, I go, should he not go fight the
I know.
Sentinels? I said
Charles'
that.
questionable decision
Charles's
making.
questionable leadership, as always. But because it can't die, they just overestimate him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's like maybe Magneto's got to keep one hand on him while the rest of them do shit. I'm sure there was a reason, but when they ripped that metal out of his body, I like gasped. I was shocked.
I did too.
I'm such a Wolverine fanboy. I always have been. And this was very much like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was brutal. It also kind of, I mean, on Magneto's part, it just felt so petty. Like, he says some little quip right before. He's like, yeah, you little bitch. Like, you killed me.
did.
But like,
he was like finally giving me excuse to do it.
Yeah.
Like
That's what it was. He
That's
stabbed
so
him and he was like,
funny.
finally.
yeah, I know.
He had thought about it. He had thought about it for a few years.
But then everyone's jaw just drops. Like you see everyone
Yeah.
panning for a moment, and you're like, "Yeah, me too."
that's,
Shit.
that was good. That was a very good moment that I didn't think we'd ever see on.
Yeah, I was not
I don't think
expecting
a
that
Fox
at
movie
all.
would have ever even dared to
No.
try that.
We've seen medalless Wolverine in Days
Yeah.
of Future Past, and I think that's a cool.
and in
thing to explore.
Origins,
Yeah.
he's got bone claws.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Bone
yeah.
claws.
you see how that process happened.
Yeah. My number 2, I would say, is bringing it back to my boy. It's when Scott and Jean say a psychic goodbye to Cable because they know they're on a suicide mission.
Cried again.
Man,
That
and just
was
like
emotional.
the whole Scott and Cable father-son bonding thing. They had that family fight in the car, and like that's pretty cool. And
So
you
good.
He
know,
goes, buckle up. You're not my mom.
I know. I love them like parroting someone who's probably realistically like 10 years older
I
than them. That
know.
they're like comparing
Yeah.
it. I loved it.
I also am such a time travel whore. It's like my
Yes.
favorite story device.
Really?
Mhm.
I love time travel. So like when Scott goes, I sent him to the future so he could have a future, but it was so bad he had to come back to the past to try to change it. I was like, damn.
yeah, eat that shit up. But yeah, it's so emotional. I don't know.
When they show his eyes
Oh,
too, I did notice the eyes metaphor on my rewatch was Jean sees Cable, or no, Madeline does, and she goes, "Oh, those eyes!" And she recognizes Scott's eyes, which I think is
Mhm.
that's romantic, like because no one
Yeah.
sees his eyes,
Mhm.
and then that's when she realizes, "Oh my God, you're Nathan, Cable, you're Nathan." Yeah,
In an animated series, did Cable? I assume
Cable
Cable
appears in the
so they
first
must not have known. Up
season
they
until
at
just
then.
didn't
least.
know. Yeah, he was.
You were probably very close to that episode. And it was like 3, 4, or 5 or something. It's very early.
He
on.
couldn't make it to the
Animated
the
series-
interesting part.
Is wild because like episode 2 or 3, they
It is a little
it's
boring.
it's where they go into
Yeah.
the sewers, and I think Leech is down there. What's that group called? I don't know.
Oh,
the
oh
They're like
gosh,
the
what
ne'er
was
do wells or
that?
some shit.
Yes, thank you.
Morlocks.
the ne'er do wells.
Oh wow!
You're just like the man, Evan. You'd be a mutant hater. I can already
I would be.
smell it on you.
But in that episode, the storyline is they kidnap Cyclops so the leader of the Morlocks can procreate
could
with him.
marry him
That's like,
because she's impressed
That's
by
episode
him.
2?
that's like episode
Yeah,
3.
it's
Wow.
very.
Does
it's
she
very-
succeed?
Yeah. Oh, wait,
No.
whoa. One of the best parts of that episode is when the leader of the Morlocks and Storm basically Jedi fight, like lightsaber fight.
Yeah.
It's like a meme.
I
I
do.
All right, you guys are
but I was like,
convincing
oh,
me to
that's
go
where
watch.
this is from.
You guys have convinced me. I gotta go watch.
And like the second or third episode is also the Wolverine meme.
Yes,
The-
that was
at the
so
photo.
early.
Where he's on
in
the
se-
bed.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and also there's a tweet going around when the show came out, like Charles is like the tweet was like Charles is a savage. He got pissed at Magneto one time and sent him psychically back
Back to the,
to the Holocaust,
to
and
the
that's like episode
Holocaust.
1. That's like episode 1. That'd be a fun one to like just like slowly watch an episode here or there. But yeah, apparently everyone wants Scott's dicks. Like he's got it for whatever reason. He's the man, and
including Evan.
including me.
including Evan. So that's your number 2 moment.
That's my number
The touching family goodbye
Mhm.
psychically
It's
in
a
a
good
booth.
one.
It's
Yeah.
good. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Courtney?
Overall, one of the things that stuck out to me is just like Storm and Jean's friendship.
Mhm.
They have like a really good moment. I think it's the second to last episode, with both of them going their separate ways into their units.
Mhm.
But the reason as a female I always really enjoyed X-Men is I feel like the women characters were complex. They had feelings and emotions and different backgrounds. And I feel like this series continued that and really gave justice to the female
Yeah.
mutants.
Mhm.
And it reminded me of why I love this series because I had someone to look up to,
Yeah.
I guess, in a sense.
They're the
Yeah.
two strongest. Also,
Yeah.
they're literally
Yeah,
gods.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're like the Omega level.
Yeah.
Like,
How many
And so I
Omega-
really like
badass.
that.
How many?
Didn't
Omega
someone make a
level
joke that
mutants?
you should call it the X-Woman around here or something, or did I make that up?
I don't know.
They
maybe.
should.
Yeah.
I think it was Jennifer Lawrence in First Class that made that joke. Sorry, I'm
Oh.
mixing my mediums.
I was like, I don't remember saying that.
What's that little clever little thing they say? She's like, "Let them mind your weather, and then
Yeah.
weather your mind." I was like,
That's the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so good.
May they mind
I
your
bet
weather.
they got that.
I
and
eat
they got
that
weather
that
your
shit
tatted
up.
on the
mind.
rib cage or whatever.
Yeah, well, they are, for all intents and purposes, sisters, and
Mhm.
it's Nightcrawler, Kurt, that really talks about this. He's like, blood is blood, but family, you choose. You could choose your family, and I really love the idea of a found family. And so these two are sisters, and so when they said goodbye early on, it was really sad. You know, Aurora had to go do her own thing, get her powers back. She wasn't a mutant anymore. And but when they see each other again, Jean literally flies and is like, Aurora. They hug each other. Their
I
relationship,
think I cried during that too.
Super
like,
special.
There's so many emotions,
They're-
emotions when I was watching that.
Mhm.
like you said, they
Mm.
pack a ton of like competing interests. Like everyone has their own
Mhm.
motivations. Very well done in the show.
And we talked a little bit about her, but Rogue especially has a really complex arc in this. She's juggling her love triangle. She's also she is one
Asked
of
to
the
be
two
queen
mutants
of the mutants.
true, but she jumps ship to Magneto's team essentially towards the end
Her
of
and
it.
Sunspot. That was, you know what? That was one that was on my list that I had to take off, unfortunately, when
Ooh.
Rogue and Sunspot joined Magneto. Because to me,
Mhm.
that's what this is all about. Is it's so messy. It's not clear which side people will
Mhm.
be on, but both of those characters, it makes sense that he
then
goes. My family just tried to hand me over to the murder robots. Like maybe I think Magneto's right.
Mm-hmm. And then I think he has that moment with Jubilee in the next episode where he's like, "Hey, I hope we're still cool," and he's like, "No."
That's not how this works, dude.
Like typical 18-year-old boy. We're all right, right?
But that's like Magneto. He's like, well, we could still be cool because we're mutants. Like, you know what I mean? And Charles is like, no, I don't support your ways.
Does that bring us to each
The
of our
final
number one?
moment.
And
Yeah.
I'm guessing we all have the same one.
I think because none of us said it, it might be all of our
It's
final
gotta
moments.
be.
I've named it. I'm going to name it. I have a good name.
I can change mine up.
Oh.
Mine's, but it is talking about
Okay.
him.
Okay.
Crop top Gambit.
That's my moment too, actually.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. So we all were thinking.
Yeah,
it,
we were
right?
all
Okay.
thinking the same thing. It was the crop top.
Yeah.
No, I've named it Gambit's final Gambit. Is my favorite moment of the
Jesus
season.
Christ.
Is he the quintessential '90s comic book character?
Yeah, kind of.
Long
Yeah, I
trench
think you're actually
coat,
right about
random
that.
colors. He's
Yes.
holding a bow
Long
staff
hair.
for no
Yes.
reason.
He's got a
Yes.
staff, rides
Cards,
motorcycles
like
when he
tricks,
can,
magic tricks.
Yeah.
that was
throwing
a
playing
thing.
cards. It's total cool. He's so cool though. First off,
I know.
they knew what they were doing because they made him the goddamn coolest. They knew
Mhm.
from the jump. They were like,
He's always been the coolest.
I know he's always been the coolest. We used to in Boltwood in our fraternity house, we would play X-Men Evolutions, and it's a 4-person game where you run around a map and do
I
things
love
together.
those games.
And and I would play as Gambit, and so I've always like Gambit's my guy. And so seeing him in this, it was just such a joy because he gets left out of the X-Men a lot. Like he's part of the team. He's here.
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked, because I feel like he hasn't really figured into as many of the comic storylines, or hasn't been as relevant.
Because he wasn't
Since the
good either. Like
90s.
he
He's
had
in
his
and out. Yeah.
issues.
He's got issues.
He got
But he's a
very
bad
big
one.
boy.
A lot
He's
of
kind
people.
of him and Logan compete for that loner bad boy role.
Yes. Yeah, I
Mm.
think you're right. Yeah.
Okay.
And Logan's won out
Um,
over the years because a huge jacked man.
Yes. One of my hopes for the Deadpool Wolverine movie is that we will get to see Channing Tatum
I think we
as
will.
Gambit.
I think
as-
it's
How do
gonna
you feel
happen.
about that?
I mean, it was just because it was teased so long ago that he was gonna play him, and it never happened.
I can't
I think
picture
he was
it.
at Comic-Con once and did an
I think
announcement.
they announced it or some shit. Everyone was so hype and ready
Also,
for it.
Step Up is such a sexy movie. I love
It was in the height of when he
He
was
might
just
have
like
been wearing a crop top there too.
Yeah, it was a very
everyone
thin
saw
thing.
the image. It was perfect.
Yeah.
But Remy is so great. He's got a Bayou, a Louisiana accent,
I love that
Mhm.
accent.
and he just loves Rogue. And it's so goddamn
He
cute.
ships her so hard.
Mhm.
He ships
The
them
simp.
so hard. He simps
Yeah.
for her so hard, but in a cute way.
Yeah. I like that we get to see the cracks of these the bad boys of Wolverine and of Gambit in this.
Yeah.
Their softer side, but Gambit's final Gambit. Gambit's last Gambit, what was it?
Final Gambit. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to set the scene. We're at Genosha. They're having a dance.
They just
Magneto's
got
going to be
bombed.
Chancellor, and Rogue is going to be his Chancelloress. And there's a really badass line here that I had to write down and say. The UN lady, the blonde lady, as we'll call her, she comes in and was like, "We need to talk. Like, most nations don't allow terrorists to be their ruler." And he goes, yet so many nations, but he turns in and says, "Yet so many nations have terrorists as their leaders already." And I was like, "Oh, god damn!" Or he was like,
I
"So many
know.
of their nations allow them to act as terrorists." And I was like, "Oh,
Yes.
Magneto's so quick with it. He's always
Yeah.
got a fucking line." And if Gambit wasn't my favorite, and if he doesn't have this beautifully tragic story, Magneto would probably be my favorite of the season. He was great too.
When Rogue goes, a little bit before this dance party, she goes, "You light up everything you touch except me." I was like, damn, dude. Knows how to cut to
You
a man's
missed-
core.
You miss the beginning of the line. I wrote it down.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
She goes, "Your heart may beat for me, sugar, but I can't feel it. You light up everything you touch except me."
And then at the end,
Mhm.
she eats her words, literally.
Literally, she predicted that. And it's so goddamn fucking sad because here's the thing. He's struggling with these jealousy feelings because she can touch Magneto and they have this history and they may or may not be hooking up. And he's so upset with it because he just can't touch the woman he loves. And that's all he fucking wants to do. And then she chooses Magneto, not necessarily because she loves him or can touch him, but for the betterment of mutant kind. She makes a decision. And then as she's finally embracing this new role as Chancelloress, she goes, "You know what? Remy was right. Love is not skin deep." And she changed her fucking mind. And it was too late.
Those are always the most
But you know
tragic love
what?
stories.
At the end, he's still simp for her.
Ah!
When he does when she gets mad, because I think it's the point where Leech, Magneto are in that bubble and she thinks they're all annihilated, and then she goes into a rage rogue. She's going towards a sentinel
gonna
and it
kill
was
her.
something Omega Leva.
He knocks
Omega
her
level,
out.
blah blah blah. He knocks her out with his motorcycle.
Yeah.
Towards the end, he even made sure he always looked out for her.
Yeah. And
Also, one man taking on the mega fucking sentinel. Damn.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
The end.
I always loved his power as a kid, and I didn't understand it till I was human, till I was older.
Whoa.
I mean, I didn't take the cure. What? No. So,
Madeline?
so, he can turn potential energy of any object into kinetic energy, which thus causes it to
Mhm.
explode. Which is awesome. And so he's going up and he's gonna take out this thing all on its own, and it fucking stabs him.
Mhm.
And instead of trying to get away, he accepts it. He takes it, he grabs it, and he's like, I'm taking you down with me. And he explodes that motherfucker, thus ending the Genosha attack. Oh, speaking of my second favorite character, Charles, I wrote down one more line. At the beginning of the attack, Magneto, not Charles, I'm missing. Magneto,
I almost
sorry,
interrupted you. It's like,
Charles is the worst.
I know. I was like, wait, what?
Magneto
That's
has a
plot
great
twist.
line when the fighting all breaks out. He directs orders and he goes, "We will not live the rest of our days wondering if we could have saved more." Oh, the writing was like poetry. I
The
said this
writing
one
was so good.
so good. Every line was so dramatic, but bathed in comic book. Just like I loved it.
Yeah, and it makes. I think that's what makes Charles so annoying this season. Is like he comes back and he's trying to dictate things, and tell everyone. It's like you were fucking off
It's like,
world.
bitch, you were
getting
here.
ready
Here.
to
We
be
were
You
in the
left,
emperor.
dude. Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
Yeah, you went
he was
on an
ready to
alien
turn
planet to.
the human sentinels back on before everyone was ready.
I couldn't believe
This
that.
he
I
always
was-
makes questionable calls. In first class at one point, Jennifer Lawrence is like, you like want to blend in with, you want to be human like so badly, and I think it's very
Mhm.
true. Like he wants humanity to accept him so
He
badly.
wants their approval, Magneto.
He wants their approval, and it makes him make really
and they're not gonna get it.
bad and questionable decisions. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, so
yeah.
good.
That's why Team Magneto.
Yeah.
And then he when they're having that conversation, Evan, in the room where she's telling him that she's going to accept it, he holds up a playing card. He's like, "Did you accept his offer?" And it's the Queen. And I was like, "Ah!" And it's the Queen that they find at the end of the season when Apocalypse goes. He goes, "Ah, perfect."
I still need to go back and watch
Oh.
that.
It's the
Man,
same
credit
card.
scene.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So poetic. It's so fucking good.
Could you talk about
We're talking about
that?
Gambit. Let's do it. Yeah.
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 So I didn't see this mid-credit scene.
There's a scene at the so after
Wait, you still haven't seen it?
No,
because
I-
Evan's
yeah.
lazy. Yeah.
No, I've been
Oh.
working. I
Jesus
got up to
Christ.
tolerances
He's the most lazy
extinction right
person.
before.
I'm
this
just kidding. I'm
recorded.
joking.
was
I'm
literally-
joking.
I was gonna say it's literally 15
Um,
seconds.
So the end credit scene, we see so after people get blasted all throughout the time stream. Some people are in the
Mhm.
future. Some people are in the past. We see Apocalypse. I'm assuming in the present, based on that playing card, and
Yes.
it really hints that he's gonna make Gambit the
One of the
horseman
four
of death.
horsemen.
Death.
Yeah, because he says something about death right there.
Okay.
So Gambit's back,
Interesting.
baby, but he's gonna be a bad guy.
I feel like at one point in the comics, Angel/Archangel has also
Yeah.
been one of Apocalypse's.
Yeah, I knew
Four
that one.
So
Or
maybe
something.
he'll be in there. He's done a ton of them. To be fair, he's had a ton throughout
Yeah.
the years. But Apocalypse is a
Archangel's
great
the
villain.
one I think of the most,
and
though.
Well, I'll be honest, because of the way streaming is, I thought maybe they would leave some things open for a season 2, but I really thought they would end things kind of neat and nicely, like, oh, we're all back at school, like we did it. And they did
Mhm.
not at all.
Not.
They did
No.
zero
Yeah.
of that. Shit is still hitting the
literally,
fan.
3,000 years apart.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what the
So
heck?
we got one group in the past meeting a young Apocalypse and Nabasur,
Yep.
and
yeah.
then we get Jean Grey and Scott
Oh.
Summers blasted into the future to meet the Ascani tribe, and
Yep.
who is taking care of
Young
Nathan Summers
Yeah.
from the future.
Summers. Bum,
So-
bum,
Is it
bum.
confirmed that that's Rachel Summers?
Oh,
in the hood?
Oh, I don't
maybe.
know.
Is it
I
confirmed
don't
or
know. It's
no?
confirmed. She called herself Mother Ashanti or whatever their tribe name is. Interesting. We could get the whole Summers lineage, though.
Is Rachel Summers, according to this fandom wiki.
Good call out. I didn't realize. Good old
Wow,
family
wow,
reunion.
Wow.
I mean, I'm excited to see, and I think Evan mentioned this in our chat, is more Jean and Cyclops, kind of.
You guys
I
are
just need a Gene and
so
Cyclops
into
spin-off.
Cyclops.
I do too. Like raising these
Yeah.
weird children
Well,
that are like
until
you know,
Wolverine comes in
70
and
like 6
steals
right now.
Jean away.
I don't know much about Apocalypse. I know they adapted it in
Oscar Isaac's first
Oscar
superhero role.
Isaac's, yeah, which was kind of a dud.
Oh, I forgot that was him.
And the young version of him, that like the post-credit scene at the end of Days of Future Past was played by Logan Lerman. Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Oh, I was like,
I'm
who's
gonna
that?
have to go
Yeah.
back and watch
Yes.
this. I knew who he was
Yeah.
talking about. I'll have to go back and watch that. Isn't he also Percy Jackson? Yes. Is that
Yes,
what I'm
I think
thinking?
so. Yeah,
Yeah,
have to
I know
check
who you're
that.
talking about.
a lot of
That
threads
famous
to
movie
pick
with
up on.
Hermione and the Flash.
Oh yeah, that's how you know that guy.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Had to take the chance while I saw it.
Oh my god.
So I don't know. We covered a lot.
We
So
covered a
far,
lot here.
like,
Any moments you
I feel-
think deserve an honorable mention that maybe we missed?
I liked Storm's transformation.
That was cool.
Someone, I think it was on like Twitter or something. They're like the Sailor Moon transformation. I was like, Only
That was
Storm
the
could get away
opposite
with
of
that,
what
though.
Evan like the Madeline Pryor's Sailor Moon transformation.
I
Stars
like
was
both.
bad.
I like both.
So on my rewatch, something that I missed and not really missed, but like didn't understand like the importance of is the Sentinels sent back like Sentinel technology from the future to implant in Bastion's father so that when he had a baby, Bastion would be part Sentinel. And it was like, man, the Sentinels in the future got so advanced, they were like, we're going to wipe out mutants earlier than we did this time. Like,
some
the
T2
whole
shit.
Sentinels programming is to locate and destroy mutants to the point where they eventually use time travel
yeah.
to try to make that happen faster. Crazy. And they pick Sebastian because he is a technopath.
Yeah.
And they were like, he may be the most strongest mutant we ever faced. So they recruited his ass. They made him part Sentinel. And they fucked. This is also what I love about X-Men. So much fucking with the time stream. They're always like, we gotta change history.
They really are.
I love it.
Well, is it like, but like Bishop was like in the beginning and then not.
He was
Bishop's,
like, I only got
also
one
in
more
the old
charge.
one. I know. And then he's back again. You're like, wait, bitch, hold
I
up.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Lost Nathan. The one thing he was in
How-
charge
yeah,
of.
they literally like Nathan showed
Yeah.
up alone. God damn it,
Yeah.
Bishop!
Right.
The one thing we asked you to do.
Right. I would have loved if they like kind of hit towards that, like Cyclops being like, Bishop, what did
Yeah,
you
like,
do
Bishop,
to
what
him?
happened there? Why did he didn't show up alone?
Bishop and Cyclops had a cool moment I just rewatched today where he when they're battling in hell, or I forget, was that like
What?
a psychic in episode 3 or 4? They're like
Were they
the
fighting
mansion-
Madeline Pryor?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, I think it's
and
just
they're
a
like
psychic
fighting
sort of
demons.
hell.
Okay, but he's like
They do sometimes go to
Cyclops.
hell, though. That's why I was
Yeah.
very confused.
yeah, and so like Cyclops shoots his punch dimension force into Bishop, and
Oh, that
And
was a
started
good
the
moment.
boss, yeah.
Charge
love
me.
that. there's so many of those like moments of like
When
combo
Gambit
moves.
charges, yeah, Logan's claws. Like,
Yes.
oh yeah.
Like the only thing I can liken it to in the movies is like I think in one of the X-Men's we got like Colossus throwing Wolverine or some shit like that. But like
That's the most.
Oh my god, that's
teamwork.
the one you think
That's
about?
the most teamworky thing we've ever seen.
yeah, I mean no, we get all these cool combo moves.
No, I
that's all
agree.
I'm saying.
I think that's why
That
Days
was
of
a
Future
combo
Past
move.
is so great, is when they're fighting against these Sentinels. There's like
Mhm.
the teleporter, and they're really all working together.
Was Olivia
it's very
Munn in
fun.
that movie? She was Psylocke.
No, that's Apocalypse. She's in
Oh,
Apocalypse.
okay.
She's one of the
Gotcha.
Four Horsemen.
All right, maybe I will.
Wow. Yeah. It's coming back to me, but it's like I haven't seen them in like 10
They're
years.
they're interesting through an adult lens because, like I said, I always was just like, yeah, Charles and the X-Men are the good guys. But watching it again, it's so much more gray and clear. Like Days of Future Past, literally, Magneto is right. They're trying to erase the mutant kind. They're killing humans that are gonna have mutant babies. Like
Yeah.
they are literally going to extremes. Like we see Charles is we see Magneto is correct. I keep mixing up their names. We see that Magneto is correct in this movie, but the whole movie is about being like, Charles should be right, though. We need to show them a better path. And it's complicated, because, like, do you want to live in the idealistic world and act that way, or do you want to live here in the real world and act accordingly? It's tough.
All right, question.
Yeah.
If we were students at Charles's School for Gifted Youth, what would your power be, and would you defect to Magneto, or I guess would you be in the Brotherhood or at Charles's?
That's
in the
hard.
X-Men.
What stage of Magneto?
That's a tough one. So I think I would have probably like from the movies, like Pyro, like he's
Mhm.
doing the flames. And I think maybe similar to Pyro, like if I'm burning shit down all the time and people are mad with me, or I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't control it, like I'm a moody teen, which just happens when I sneeze sometimes. Like, maybe I go to Magneto. I'd rather not. Like, you know what I mean? I'm hoping my experiences in life don't lead me that way. But I can't say.
Depends how good the speech is.
Yeah, how good is this? How good is this pitch Magneto did? But yeah, I'll go with some sort of fire control manipulation, what have you.
All right. I think I would need some kind of beam or blast just because I love
Just full
both
Cyclops.
full Cyclops, maybe out of my butthole or something, so it's a little different.
Make it a tiny bit different.
You could be like the guy from the labyrinth, and your hands or eyes are on your
yeah,
hands,
yeah.
and they
Yeah,
shoot
yeah.
out that way.
That would make you mute.
The
Nice.
mansion is pretty
Not
nice.
the butthole.
Depends how nice the quarters are.
If I have-
got for his,
If I had like a physical mutation too, probably joining
Oh,
Magneto's side.
like the guy who's like a glob and he's got a skeleton. You could be
Yeah.
that. That could be your mutant
that sucks.
power.
That blows.
Yeah. Not everyone has cool powers like Wolverine and
Yeah.
Storm and Cyclops.
Courtney, what about you?
I would like a combination of like a sunspot
Mhm.
thing.
Oh, yeah,
Like I like that he
yeah.
absorbs the sun
The
and
radiation of the sun, and
yeah,
then-
I like
he's
that. a
flying.
lot.
That was fun.
Yeah, and I like.
I'm with you.
I would like to fly. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I'm scared of heights. So we'll
True.
see.
My
Like,
backup
yeah.
one would be like Kitty. I'd love to phase through things. Like, who's gonna stop me if you can't fucking hit me?
But okay, here's where I've also always like, how do you stop? Especially if you're learning that power, how do you?
I know. Is
It
that
takes
scary?
a lot of
I'll say-
practice not
yeah.
to like just fall through the earth.
Exactly.
But something they never go into, like in the movies or anything, is because she is pass throughable. She cannot take in air. Like she can't breathe. She can only do it as long as she can hold her breath.
Interesting. I didn't.
Yeah, and then
know
in
that's
My
a-
Hero Academia, they take it a step further. They're like, no light actually goes through your eyes if you're passing through. So
you
you're
can't
like
see.
blind, deaf, and you can't breathe. And I was like,
Oh.
that's fascinating. Because I mean, that
That's
makes
one
sense if
wrinkle.
you
Yeah.
go into the physics of it.
Okay.
But so she does it. She can't just like phase indefinitely. She has
Sure.
to take breaths between.
But that's what I'm saying. What if she held her breath and let out,
Fell
and then
through the
she's
ground,
in the,
yeah,
the
you gotta-
core of the earth and
Or
melts?
she's
Swim
stuck
up,
between like a
swim
wall.
up, swim
like
up.
breeze as she's like in a wall.
Oh, that I think that would be my fear is like being
Yeah.
getting
It's so
stuck halfway
scary.
through.
Yeah.
But then you can control it. You can phase. Yeah, I guess if you like lose your powers. It's a fun one though. I just feel like I would love to have someone try to swing like a sword, like trying to punch my ass, and I'm just like, ha ha ha, like you can't fucking hit me. That would be so fun. You can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah. There's not enough you can say about this show. I don't know. Any
It really did. Yeah, those closing thoughts. I
Closing
got mine.
thoughts.
I'm
Sure.
spitting them out right now and ranking. Okay. This did X-Men such a service. It did
Yes.
the themes, the metaphors, the comic book like accurate people, the old cartoon. This was made with so much love and care, and you feel it in every story, every line of dialogue, every fight scene. Someone that really loved X-Men was like, what if Magneto actually yanked the metal out of Wolverine? And they were like, we should give the fans that. They've wondered for years. Let's do it. Like, I just absolutely loved everything about this. It might be one of the best new TV shows I've watched in like a really long time. 5 out of 5. No notes. I want 17 seasons of this.
Agreed.
Ditto everything Alex said. But to be honest, I remember when we were talking about this, like, it was like a year
Yeah.
ago. I probably would have ate this up even if it was Fox quality because I just love X-Men so much. Like I would have like been fine with any content. But the fact that it's like really good and the dialogue's good, the storylines are good, the fight scenes, the animation's awesome. Like the fact that we just got everything in one is like such a blessing for like the X-Men stans who've been around forever. So we've been waiting for like a good comeback and this is it. And you know what? I might bite my tongue saying this. I'd be okay if we just got a really good animated show. Like I personally don't need a live action with it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they can do more sometimes with animation.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I feel like the live actions fall through. I don't know.
Yeah.
I am totally fine having a really good quality animation like this. And I'm
I agree.
really happy. And yeah, 5,000 out of 5.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Ditto. This is an incredible
Morph,
animated show. It's an incredible adaptation of a comic book. It is probably one of the best comic book things I maybe have ever watched. I put this. I'm racking my brain for recent comic booky things because if you listen to this podcast, you know, like that's my jam. We both love superhero stuff, but the Batman comes to mind, and this comes to mind as like, you know, what have we been doing for the past 20 years? But like, try to get to, we've hit it, maybe come close to this like level of quality, and I think it achieves that because it's animated, you can do all the stuff that you want to see from the comic book page, and it doesn't talk down to the audience. Like, this is this is quite literally a show that grew up with its audience from the 90s series, and that's who it's made for. And like I hadn't,
but I do feel like anyone could step into it though.
Absolutely.
Too. Like,
I didn't
I've only
really
seen
watch
3
the old one.
episodes of
I didn't do the old. I didn't do the homework.
Yeah.
Or just the universe in general. So yeah.
Yeah.
I would recommend this to like people that aren't even comic book people. Sometimes I'd be like, hey, if you're looking for an animated show, check out X-Men '97.
Because it is like a soap opera. You can just flip it on.
Yeah, get
And
Haley to
some
watch
shit
it.
is
We'll put
fucking
that really to the
happening, yeah.
test.
So much soap
Yeah.
opera. It's so great.
And, like this,
I didn't even realize if you add morph into the love triangles that there are, it makes it a love
There's
triangle
so
on
many.
both ends
Yeah.
for Scott, Jean,
Love
Madeline,
it.
Logan,
Yeah.
and Morph.
So yeah, this is one of the best things we've watched on this podcast for a while.
Yeah.
I cannot sing its praises enough. 5 stars out of 5. Couple news things before we sign off.
Yeah.
First one,
I
Nicolas Cage is officially set to star in the live-action adaptation of Spider-Man Noir, the character he voiced in the Spider-Verse movies. I think this I think this will be fun at the very least, because Spider-Verse movies were very smart and funny, funny and well written. And Nicolas Cage has been doing these like more self-aware roles and like sort of comedic. So I think it could be a lot of fun.
If it's campy, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want it to be campy.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to look for news, but me and Evan's Twitter thread is a bunch of Young Sheldon memes, a show that neither of us have
That's
ever
from you.
watched.
What?
It's all me. I think they're hilarious. I
Danny
got one here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Oh, Danny DeVito says he would play Wario in a Super Mario Brothers movie sequel.
That's big news.
I think you can't cast it any better than that.
No.
Courtney,
How
did
could
you ever catch the Mario movie?
I loved
Yeah.
it.
It was so
I saw it in
good. Yeah,
theaters. It was so good.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have one. The Looney Tunes' first ever fully animated full-length movie is set to release in theaters. It's called The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. Now, I saw the headline and I go, hold on, Looney Tunes have so many movies. I go, oh, it's got like Michael Jordan in it, or it's like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like Brendan Fraser's there. Like, there's always, and it made me realize Space Jam 2 was such a letdown. I was like, haven't we tried this recently? And I go, oh, we did try it recently, and it was not good.
I don't want it. I want Wile E. Coyote versus Acme with what's his name?
That was the first thing Evan responded to.
Yeah, that SNL guy, former SNL guy, Bill. No, not Bill.
Hater?
Not Hater.
Andy
Not Hater.
Samberg?
Bill Forte. Will Forte.
Oh,
Will
Forte.
Forte. I go, that's not his name.
Bill,
Yeah.
Will, you know.
Written by James Gunn. Written off by Dave Zaslav.
I was gonna say, wasn't there a Looney Tunes movie that did get a write-off? Like,
That's
they
just
never...
the one
that
I
was
was talking
Is it
Wile E.
the same
Coyote
one?
versus
Okay,
Acme, yeah.
okay. That's what I thought.
John
Okay.
Cena's in it. God damn.
Yeah, that is
Someday.
crazy when you say that, when you put it
Yeah.
that way. Someday we'll see it.
Yeah.
They can't keep a good
Someday.
dog down. Any more news you have?
No, that's it for me. I don't know. I love X-Men 97, guys. I gotta
Oh,
watch it
I do
again.
too.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been looking up like Reddit threads of like, what X-Men comics do I need to read?
I'm sure there's great things you could go read if you
Mhm.
were into these. So,
I'm gonna promote going to your library. Somebody, because I did also look on Reddit. I was like, where to begin? Like, I don't want to buy the
Yeah.
comics. Like, I don't want to do that. And someone said they got a bunch of the comics now at your library, and people were like, wow, like back in the 90s, like 2000s, that wasn't a thing. So check your local library. You
That's
can
fun.
search. You don't even have to like interact with a person, which is
that's the
great.
best.
You can like search and see. So
Love that. Yeah. And X-Men are one, they just dive. Like I said, when Evan was like, when they were fighting in hell, I go, I think that's actually a different X-Men storyline. They just have something for everything. There's magic in the world. There's fucking science. There's it's awesome and it's great. And I love watching them interact with the MCU as a whole because, like I said, they get treated as such second-class citizens when in reality they're just like every other hero group. Why don't the Avengers get the shit that they do? It's interesting to watch. So Yeah, I mean, I think that's all I got for X-Men. Courtney, anything else besides promoting the library before we head out of here? I meant it in a
Having
nice way.
fun
There's no way to make it
isn't
sound
hard.
not dorky.
Where did you
I
There's
know.
no way to make it
Library
not sound.
card.
It's a great idea.
I used to get comics from the library all the time. So
That's a great love
move.
that. Love that.
I might
don't
feel
know.
different as a
For
30-year-old
joining
man
us.
now, but like,
Yeah, there'd be kids.
Thanks
in the
for
section.
like having me, and thanks for like I don't really have a ton of people to talk about X-Men with. I have like one other person.
That's what we love this about the
So
pod.
thanks for like letting me send you all these weird Reddit things and memes. Like all of our memes are so funny, and I look forward to like all the
It's
weird
been-
stuff we send each other
Yes.
each week. So it's kind of sad that's
I
ending.
know.
You know,
it doesn't
so.
We'll have-
end.
We always have season 2.
We always have season 2, and
We
Deadpool
have
and
like
Wolverine.
9 Fox movies that you
Yeah.
could all go rewatch.
I know. Now
They're
I
on
think I need to
Disney.
watch Days of
They're on
Future
like
Past.
Disney Plus and Max. I think between the
Hmm.
two of those apps, you could do every X-Men movie.
Yeah,
I think I'm
guys,
exaggerating.
this is the
but
mission of the podcast. Like,
That's
we're,
right.
We're just here to geek out about stuff that we love to watch as
Yeah.
adults, because we should be allowed that.
Mm-hmm.
This was
Um,
made for adults, though.
This was made for adults. It was too horny.
It was
Oh, very much.
horny.
The Morph Wolverine shower scene, definitely.
Yeah,
The Magneto Rogue goob scene. I don't even know what they're like morphed
melting
into
into each other. Yeah.
melting. Thank you.
Oh, good times, good times. Anything else before we wrap up here?
No, thanks for talking to me
Yeah,
about
thank
it.
you
And
for joining
thanks
us.
for having
Thank
me
you
on.
for coming on the podcast. Thank you for
Yeah.
taking an hour and a half out of your day to record this dumb podcast with us.
Hey, we broke ground here. It was not dumb. Okay.
We love having you on, Courtney. It's always a pleasure, especially to chat X-Men, but anything animated.
Yeah, it's crazy we talked
We're
about
all
this a year
ears.
ago.
Mhm.
Okay.
I know.
Like I mentioned at the top of the podcast, please go follow us on YouTube, like a video, watch something, share it with someone, whatever you can do. We appreciate it. But if you enjoyed this episode, we do have more you can check out on Apple, Spotify, as well as YouTube. Please follow us at Two Dudes Watch Cartoons on both Instagram and TikTok. And, make sure you rate and review wherever you're listening from. That's it for me.
That'll do it for this episode of Two Dudes Watch Cartoons. We will catch you next time.
I had to.
Two dudes watch cartoons.